Before you start your 2026 goals, there's one thing that you need to do first, and that's to release the old version of you, because the old version of you can't go where you're going. This isn't about a new planner or a new diet. This is about a whole energetic reset, because the person that you're becoming deserves peace, prosperity, and alignment, as well as a little bit of soft luxury energy. Welcome to part one of my 4-part series of becoming that woman in 2026. Now, there is so much information like this online, but I really wanted to strip it back and give you guys a 4-part series that's really easily digestible. More than anything, this is going to be the ultimate blueprint and the ultimate framework for you to apply to your life, no matter who you are and no matter what you do. A lot of the information that we see online is usually by people that have the time richness to do an elaborate 20-step routine in the morning or the evening, or perhaps they're an entrepreneur and so they can start their day a little bit later, or they have a lot more freedom. This is going to be the ultimate blueprint and the ultimate framework, as I said, that you will be able to apply to your life no matter who you are and no matter what you do. In this episode, we're going to be doing a very soft but powerful energy reset, and we're going to be releasing what no longer serves you so that you can elevate to your fullest potential. Rather than dramatic new year, new me, we're going to shift to sustainable micro habits that will make all the difference. So let's get straight into step one, which is releasing the old version of you. Essentially, you can't attract new energy while you cling on to an old story. The real glow up starts with letting go. In order to do this, I want you to look back on the previous year. I want you to identify habits, people, routines, whether good, whether bad, and I want you to really delve into what you've paid attention to and what's been part of your life this year. Once you've done that, the framework is to really ascertain whether those habits and those people can actually go where you're going next year. If you're looking at yourself next year and you're imagining that you've hit the peak of your potential, are these habits there? Are these people there? Are they still in the room with you? Are you still doing these things? Are you maybe not doing these things? I think the core part of this is to ask yourself, am I doing things and am I around people that align with who I want to be and where I want to be? Once you've identified what you're taking with you and what you're maybe letting go, it's probably a really good idea to do a letting go ritual. Now, this can be a really big thing, it can be a really small thing, and you can do it in a way that best serves you. If you're particularly a visual person, perhaps you might prefer to write something down or, make a list if you're a little bit more of an analytical person. I'm definitely a bit more of a list person. This is where I'd invite you to look inward to see what would be the best way for you to physically and emotionally let go of some of the things that you don't want to be bringing into the next year. A letting go ritual can be journaling, it can be decluttering, it can be deleting old contacts, it can be unsubscribing to lots of those junk emails. Decluttering literally takes so many different forms. You may actually end up having to do quite a few of them. But what I want to stress is that this is also an emotional release as well as a physical release. And maybe it's going to be, in your case, a hybrid of the two. So let me know what you'll be letting go of going into the new year. So you've done step one, you've decluttered and you've let go. Step two is to redefine your vision and redefine your energy. When you start acting like the woman that you want to be, everything shifts and aligns to that purpose. And anything else catches up. So here we're going to move into alignment and identity work, or as I like to call it, the shadow work, because it kind of happens in the dark and it's not so open for everybody to see, and it's not something that you necessarily need to broadcast and advertise to people. First thing that I want you to do is to actually visualize who that new person is. What do they do? What's their habits? What's their morning routine like? What's their evening routine like? How does that new person act? How does that new person feel? How does that person dress? I think a key part of this is to replace resolutions and instead encourage energy alignment. It's about who you want to be and not necessarily what you want to do. For me personally, I find reverse engineering the best way to do this. And how I do this is I sort of ascertain who I want to be and where I want to be, and I put that down on a piece of paper. And then I kind of backtrack slowly and I kind of figure out, okay, well, almost like a puzzle. If I need to do that, then that has to be in place for me to achieve that. If I need to do that, then maybe this has to move, and maybe I need to become more in this way or more inclined and more leaning into this emotion in order to achieve X, Y, Z. So that's me. I personally like to put the end result on a piece of paper and almost like a puzzle kind of work backwards to ascertain what's going to work best. You may enjoy more of a self-concept journal. And if you have less time, maybe bite-sized chunks. Daily affirmations are a great one. And then if you're more of a visual person, then a mood board and Pinterest and something visual may be the key here. So we've done step 1 and we've let go. Step 2, we've got really granular and really focused on who and where we want to be. For step 3, it's time to curate the environment and the routine. And this is possibly the best bit. Your environment teaches your nervous system what's normal and what's not. So if you have a very cluttered space, your nervous system is going to literally mirror that and be extremely cluttered too. It's going to prohibit you from thinking clearly and seeing clearly. Whereas if your space feels peaceful, then abundance starts to feel natural. Ergo, it just comes, it flows. Abundance is here, it's there, it's everywhere. Here is where we're going to create external alignment. And we already touched on this, but the first thing that we're going to do is we're going to declutter our space. If you are opening your wardrobe and you haven't worn an item in 2 or 3 years, it's time for you to declutter. That little cupboard in the kitchen or that drawer in the kitchen that you very rarely go into, and I'm actually speaking to myself here, declutter it, get rid of it. You just don't need it. If you haven't touched anything, and this is my general rule of thumb, if I haven't used anything or opened that drawer or gone in there in X amount of time, it's time to declutter and get rid. I also like to refresh my digital world. This might sound a little bit rogue. I'm a content creator, so obviously I have a lot of cameras, I have a lot of SD cards, I have a lot of external hard drives, SSDs, and all of that good stuff. So I like to declutter those, or rather rearrange them, so that if I need to grab any piece of content from, I don't know, 2023, a trip to Paris, I can easily find it. Now, putting being a content creator to one side, what this also looks like is me going through my playlists on Spotify. What am I listening to? What am I not listening to? What podcasts are really breathing life into me and speaking to me in a way that I really understand? It also means, and I mentioned this earlier, but unsubscribing and blocking a lot of different emails, because there's nothing worse than waking up in the morning and going through your emails and seeing 10 nonsensical emails that don't align with who you are now and also where you want to be. This year, something that I'm definitely going to do is I'm going to be redoing my phone wallpaper, my laptop wallpaper, my computer wallpaper, because these are things that I look at all the time. And if I can align these with my visions for 2026, I feel like it will serve as a really great gentle reminder and also just continue to push that alignment. Lastly, you're going to want to curate daily rituals that feel soft and intentional. Daily rituals can also be something as simple as a skincare routine. One of my personal favorite daily rituals is morning silence. So I'll have my earplugs in and I'm not listening to music. I'm not on my phone. I have no devices. I have no meditation music. It's absolutely silent. And I just love to kind of be still and be in the moment. And I use that time to kind of check in with myself. How do I feel today? How did I feel yesterday? I don't necessarily journal. I literally just sit there in silence. And I also believe it's super important to have one part of the day where nobody can get in touch with you. Nobody can speak to you, because when we wake up, we probably spend the majority of the day like being spoken to, involved in conversations, at work, doing so many different things. And I think with this morning ritual, this morning silence, honestly, since implementing it into my day, it has made my life so much easier. I feel so much more grounded. So we've released the old version. We've redefined our energy and our purpose. So we've got our North Star. We've decluttered in order to create the best environment. So now it's time for step 4, which is to embody a soft structure. Being that woman isn't about being perfect. It's about being consistent with grace. In this section, we're going to explore feminine flow and how that balances with gentle discipline. First up, we have to talk about creating a routine that feels supportive and not restrictive. If you're going to go from having 0 morning routine, rolling out of bed, getting to your desk, getting to work for 9 o'clock on the dot, to now having a 5 o'clock morning routine with 20 steps before you even start work, I'm going to say that this is probably right off the bat going to be very restrictive for you to follow, for you to enjoy, and for you to be your best aligned self within. So what does soft structure look like? It looks differently for different people. It could be slow mornings, it could be slow evenings, it could be evening resets, it could be morning resets. What it definitely, I think, looks like for the majority of people is intentional working time block. And ultimately, it's going to be a structure that creates freedom and serenity. You don't want to feel restricted. Now, this is where I would invite you to kind of look at your own self and your own, I don't know, your circadian rhythm, for instance. I am an early morning person, and I've always been an early morning person. So for me, it would be my 5 to 9 before my 9 to 5. But perhaps you're an evening person, and in that case, maybe it's going to be your 5 to 9 after your 9 to 5. So here's where I'll invite you to look inward and kind of ascertain what is the best rhythm for you. How do you feel? When do you most feel productive? And once you can kind of ascertain when that is, you can implement the soft structure. The key is to have a soft structure that does not feel restrictive, as I said, because I think if you give yourself too much of a restricting routine, you're probably just going to fall at the first hurdle, because it's just going to feel like a huge task. Once you've created a soft structure, you can break things down into more sort of like bite-sized chunks, and then they become a little bit more easier for you to implement into your day-to-day life. Well, you know it, that soft structure becomes a non-negotiable habit, and it becomes second nature. It's something that you're doing day in, day out without even thinking about it. And once you've got that nailed, you can then add another layer and another soft structure, thus creating another daily habit, which you just don't even think about. It comes as second nature. So this week was about resetting your energy and decluttering your space to prepare you for the next level. In part 2, we're going to be diving into the micro beauty and lifestyle habits that make you magnetic. These are the subtle shifts and the subtle details that change how people respond to you. So make sure you subscribe, light your candle, let me know what parts of this video you guys are going to be implementing immediately into your life, and I'll see you for part 2.